Okay, so starting with the next last phase actually the of this past paper. Now, what does this past paper's last phase says or the last question says? It says a class of the students are developing a program to send data between the computers. A class of students are developing a program to send data between the computers. Many computers are connected together to form a wired network. Serial ports are used to connect one computer to another. Okay, fair enough. Each computer now, what are these things? Is assigned a unique three-digit ID, has three ports, each identified by an integer value, is connected to between one and three other computers. One computer, or it might be the two computers, or it might be the three computers and all. Messages are sent between computers as a string of characters organized into fields as shown. STX, destination ID, source ID, data, and ETX. Now, what is the STX? A single character marking the start of the message, ASCII value, it's having an ASCII value of 2. Then field number is 1, destination ID, 3 numeric characters that identifies the destination of computer. Okay, because it was 3-digit ID. Source ID, 3 numeric characters that identifies the source computer. Okay. 3 is data, a variable length string containing the data being sent. Minimum length is 1 character. Obviously, 0 is nothing. And ETX, a single character marking the end of the message, and ASCII value for ETX is 3. That means we have two constant values, uh, STX and ETX, we are having two different values. Now they are saying, for example, the following message contains the data, hello Kevin, being sent from the computer 101 to the computer 232. So it will be in the form STX 232 101. Why? What is 232? It's a destination ID and the source ID is 101. Hello Kevin, and finally we do have ETX. So destination, destination ID, then a source ID, then a message, and just after the message we do have an ETX. And what was ETX? A single character marking the end of the message. And STX is the start of the message. Each computer will run a copy of the same program. Each computer will contain a global variable, my ID of type string, that contains the unique ID of the computer in which the program is running. The programmer has defined the first two program modules as follows. Transmit, that has been already written for you. Send file takes 3 parameters. Okay, we can go with the transmit as well. Takes 2 parameters, a string containing a message, an integer containing a port number. Transmit the message using a given port number. Now, what do you mean by this send file? Takes 3 parameters, a string containing a text file name, a string containing a destination ID, an integer containing a port number. So the message, the destination ID, and a port number. Transmit the file one line at a time. Transmit a final message with the data string 4 times statics are there. Now they're saying write a pseudocode for the module send file. Send file is this one that we just studied that is having 3 parameters. So they haven't said anything to return over here. That means it's a procedure that we need to make. Assume model transmit has already been written and is used to transmit a message. So that they just told us over here that transmit is already been written for you. The value of my ID may be used as the source ID. Okay. The file specified contains no blank lines. The file specified does not contain the line 4 times star. Okay. Now we need to make up a send file. So for the send file, we need to make up a procedure, and procedure was having 3 parameters, 2 with the string and 1 with the integer data type. So let's see what we can do over here and or how we are creating this one. The procedure is a keyword, writing it in the capital format. Procedure. Now we need to make it for the send file. Now 3 parameters. What were the 3 parameters? A string containing a text file name, then a string containing a destination ID, and then an integer with a port number. So we can take file name, and this file name will be as the, or we have 2 strings now, so we can just take it simultaneously. The other one was the destination ID. Destination ID, we are taking it as a string. And the last one was the port number. So we can take port as the integer. So we have passed three of the variables over here. Oh, sorry, three of the parameters over here, not the variables. Sorry. Now, inside the procedure, what we need to do, we need to declare a few of the things. So we need to declare a variable file data that will be as the string. Just after the file data, now we have two constants over here. What are those constants? Starting of the file and ending of the file. So we do have stx. Stx was having two characters. Let me just show you once again. It was mentioned over here. Yeah. So stx, two ASCII values, and etx is having three values. So stx will be character. And constant. ETX with three characters. Okay. Now as it's a file, so we need to open that file for what? So we are going to open file. It's a keyword. Just after the open file, we will be utilizing the variable name that was file name. Open file, file name. And for what purpose we need to open it? That means mod. So we'll be opening it in the rate mode. Just after we have opened the file, now we need to check it out that it's not the end of file. That means it's not a blank file. So how are we going to check it out? While not EOF, not end of file. Which file? The file. The file name is not EOF. So if it's true, then we need to read the data. Okay, how are we going to read the data? We are going to read the data in a form. Read file, the keyword. Just after the read file, from which file? The variable name, file name, and then finally the variable in which we are going to read it out. That will be a file data. We have just declared that. Just after this, we need to see that what will be coming into the file data. So file data, sorry. File data will be assigned with a value. Number one, it will be stx concatenate. Sorry, I'm too weak in making the concatenate symbol. Okay, concatenate. Then it's the destination ID. Just after the destination ID, again we are going to concatenate it with my ID because it's a source ID, and they just said that my ID can be considered as a source ID over here. The value of my ID can be used as a source ID. Okay, just after the source ID, what do we have? We do have the file data. That means the message that was transmitted. So it was stored in the file data. Okay, after the file data, finally we do have an ETX. That means that will be defining the end of the file. Okay, just after that, call. What do we need to call? We need to call a transmit function because it was transmitting the data. So transmit procedure. Or is the function or procedure? Let me just check. Sorry, it was a procedure. So we are going to call transmit. Yeah, and if it might be a function, so it should be written. Sorry, my bad. Transmit file data. And the other parameter was the port over there. So file data and port. And finally, that will be an end while. So once we did this part, now what we are going to do? we are going to close the file. Close file. Okay, just after the close file, what we need to do? Finally, we again need to call the transmit. Okay, while calling the transmit, what do we need to do as you are doing? STX concatenate with the destination ID, concatenate it with the my ID. Now concatenate it with the 4 times tag, as they just told us. And finally concatenate it with the ETX. Okay, so that's file data, and then we do have a port over here. Port, and that's close. Both are things are passed, and then finally end procedure. So this is how we were supposed to create this procedure. Okay, now coming to the next question. What does the next question says? It says module send file is used to copy a file from one computer to another. A module with the program running on the destination computer will receive the data and write it to the new file. Explain why module send file transmits the message with the data string this one after the last line of the file. So what is the reason that it is there? So obviously it is representing the end of the file. So the receiver might be so the receiver might understand that it's the end of the file. So you can write it down this manner, not to explain, to indicate. To indicate receiver about ending of file. So receiver should be confirm that no more data is left. Okay. Now for part C1, they are saying one of the text files to be sent contains several blank lines, lines that do not contain any text. Explain why this is a problem. Okay, now if you are sending the data with the blank lines, so what will be the issue over there? If file contains blank lines, so there is no way that you could send those blank lines to receiver. There is no code or there is no explanation for sending the blank lines to the receiver. That's an issue over here. Explain how the message format could be changed to allow a blank line to be sent. Okay, now they are saying that how could you change this part? So you can say make a new variable or make a new message protocol, you may say. Protocol that indicates blank lines. Okay, now what does that mean? Like you can say 2 blank lines or 3 blank lines. That means how many the blank lines are over there. They cannot be transmitted. Yeah, but against that there are message could be transmitted that there are 2 lines or 3 lines. So you can indicate it with the new message protocol that indicates blank lines. You can indicate it with the new message. And then interpret. Why do you need to interpret? Because once you're going to develop that part, so you need to interpret that part as well. And interpret the new file data. This is how you need to do this part. Okay, now we are coming to the next phase. A new model has been defined, get field. Now it is taking 2 parameters. What are those parameters? A string containing a message, and just after the message, what they are saying, an integer containing a field number. Okay. If the field number is valid in the range of 1, 2, 3 inclusive, it returns. Okay, now they are saying return. So that means it's a function over here. It returns the string containing the required field. Otherwise, return an empty string. Okay, if it's in between 1 till 3, so the required field will be returned. Otherwise, it will be returning an empty string. As a reminder, a message is defined as, okay, the same thing they have defined over here as well. STX, then it's a, let me start. Then after that start, there is a destination ID, then a source ID, then a data, and finally end. STX was having 2 characters, ATX was having 3 characters. Other than that, destination ID, 3 characters that identify the destination computer, source ID, 3 numeric characters that identify the source computer, data with a variable name containing the data being sent. Okay, now what they are asking us to do? They are asking us to make a pseudocode for the module get field. So get field, let's remind once again, it was having 2 parameters, a string containing a message, integer containing a field number. And if the field number is valid, so once it is valid, then what are we going to do? It is going to return the string containing that required field. Otherwise, it is returning an empty string. So it's a function, obviously. So how are we going to do this part? Function. Now, which function? It will be a function get field. Taking 2 things as the parameter, the message as a string, and the number, field number. Okay. So the other thing you can take as the field number. Integer. And it was returning in a string. So returns string. Okay, just after that, now we need to declare a few of things inside this function. So that will be the local declaration. Okay, now we are declaring declare now return a string because we need to declare a variable in which we are going to return the thing. Why I'm taking it, it's the variable name, why I'm taking it in block letters, return a string, and the data type of this return string will be string. That should be in the block letters. Okay, once we are done with it, now we need to have the cases. Why are we having the cases? Because it was saying that if it matches any of the 3 parts, okay, or the 3 field values that are giving us field numbers. So how are we going to do that? We can make the cases. We can utilize the if statement as well, but that will be a long part. So instead of utilizing the case statements, we are going to do it with the case. Instead of doing it with the if statements, we are doing it with the case statements. So case of field number. We are taking the case of field number. How are we going to take it? Okay, now for the first case, what are we saying? Sorry, I didn't indented it. Yeah, now it's fine. Case number 1. return string will be assigned with a value. Mid function can be applied over here for what? The message that was passed 2, comma 3. Now, what does the 2, comma 3 means? 2, comma 3 means over here, starting with the second position and 3 characters if they are output over here. So that means return string will be, it will be a 1. Okay. What was the second case? We could say return string. Again, a mid function could be applied. What will be the applied over here? It says message as told to us 5, comma 3. You can say that if it's so second one is fine. Otherwise, if it's a 3, so again, it will be a return string. Now over here, that's a tricky one for the third one. So mid message 8 part and how many characters? So it should be length message minus 8. So if that's so it's the third part. Otherwise, we might say otherwise we were supposed to return the empty strings. So return string will be given with a value return string. Finally, it's an end case. Indentation is fine. Yeah, it's fine. End case. Now, just after the end case, we need to return. I think so. End case is just beside the indentation. Now it's fine. End case. Then we do have the return statement. What are we going to return? We are going to return the return string. And finally, end function. So this is how we need to complete this one and no further questions. So this is all for this paper. Thank you so much, guys, for this session. Allah Hafiz.